Hello and welcome to another How to Code Well PHP tutorial. Today we're going to look at PHP from the command line. Now there's quite a lot of things that we can talk about, so I'm not going to include them all today, and we'll be looking at some more later on as we go on through this series. But today we're going to focus on actually finding out the configuration of the PHP that we're using, see what modules that we're using, and also delve into some of the functions and some of the classes that we've got. So the first thing that I've got going here is the command line. And if we did a PHP -v, we can see the version. So -v is version. We could also do PHP version if we wanted to do the long argument as well, and that's going to get the same thing. So today I'm using PHP 7.1.1. I'm actually using a Mac for this, and I've got Homebrew, so I've got different variants of PHP installed, but today I'm just going to focus on this one here. So one thing that is constantly asked is how much memory do you use on your scripts? Maybe there is a script that needs to have lots and lots of memory and stuff. So there is a way of finding out the configuration that we've set for PHP, and if we did PHP -i like so, then that's going to get the ini file. That's going to get the values of the ini file, and if we press enter, we can see that we have a whole list. If I scrolled up here, a whole list of values. So this is basically the output of the PHP ini, and somewhere in here is about memory, and you've got all the xdebug stuff and bits and pieces like that. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom. An easy way to solve that, if I was just to clear that down, an easy way to get the value that you're after is to do PHP -i and pipe that to grep. So here we can do grep, and I better put in a space, pipe that to grep, and then put in memory, right? So that's going to get everything that is related to memory. So it's going to search the string memory, and it's going to get anything that has the word memory in that ini file. So if I press enter, we can see that the memory limit, which is usually the one we're after, the memory limit is set to 128 megabytes, that is. Excuse me. We've also got other bits and pieces collecting memory statistics as well, because that has the word memory in it. So we were looking for anything with memory. The next thing that we can do is actually look at the modules that we have in use, and we do that by PHP -m. And again, we have a whole long list of modules that are currently installed. So all the XML stuff, all the PDO bits and pieces, and so forth. So what we can do, if I was to clear that out, I don't know if this is actually on screen, but okay, so what we can do is actually do what we did before with the ini file and grep that. So grep for a module that we currently after. So if we did PHP -m, pipe that to grep, and put it in, I'm going to do XML. So that's going to find all the XML extensions that I've currently got in use with this PHP ini file. So this is going to find all the modules that have the word XML in them. So let's press enter, and we can see that we have XML Reader, XML RPC, XML Writer, XML itself, as well as libxml. And again, the reason why we have libxml here is because it has the word XML in it as well. So one thing I should note is the PHP ini that we saw before. If I did that again, PHP -i, that is the ini file for the command line. So there's actually two ini files. Well, there's actually quite a few ini files. You can have lots and lots, but you normally have one for Apache or whatever web server you're using for the runtime, and then you have another one for the actual command line. So we can actually find out where these live. Let's clear that down. So we can actually find where these live, and we do that by PHP -ini like so. So all of these ini files are in use. So we have PHP in PHP 7.1, and then we have one in the confd, and we also have one in the xdebug as well. So for example, if you wanted to find out where all the ini files live, that's a good example of doing that. The next thing I'm going to show you is actually how we can get some information about the PHP functions and classes. that come with PHP, and we do that using some reflection type arguments. So for example, if we wanted to find some information out on a function, we would use PHP -rf, and we do an RF basically means reflection function. I think that's what it means anyway, but the F means function. So we do RF, and let's find some information about str to lower, okay? And we can see that we have this function here, and we've got basically the signature. So we have one parameter, and it's required, which is a string. If we did something like, did that again, but instead of this, we did array walk, we can see that we have two required arguments here, or properties, an input, a function name, and user data. So this one here is for array walk, and this one up here is for str to lower. We can also do this for classes as well. So let's just clear that down. Let's do a PHP, and it's -r, and this one is C for reflection class. And we're going to do, let's do date time. I think I need to do date time like that. So that gives us if we scroll all the way up to the top, that gives us the whole output for the class and all of the methods that this class has, as well as the properties. Let's scroll all the way up to the top. Then we can see here. So we have class, date time. It implements the date time interface. These are all the constants. So if you wanted to quickly find the constant value for ISO 8601, then you could use something like this, PHP RC date time, and then maybe grep that to filter this down. So we have this constant here, and we've also got a bunch of static methods, other methods and properties and so forth. So this is very handy for analyzing classes and stuff from the command line. I'll just do an example. Let's pull this one out. Let's grab that. Let's copy you. Let's clear this down. So I'm just going to do clear here. Let's do PHP. Well, let's just go up here and then pipe that to grep. Whoops. Put in the ISO, and we can see that we suddenly have this output. So a very quick way of just finding out the format of this date time feature. This is a very underused feature of PHP, the command line. It's very, very handy to just find some quick tidbit information out on PHP functions and classes. So I'm going to leave it there, but I'm going to continue looking at the PHP command line stuff in later tutorials. But if you found this one useful or helpful in any way, do give it a thumbs up, do share it around to others that might find it useful as well. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe, because I do a tutorial like this every Tuesday and a web chat every Friday. So I've been talking about freelance and other bits and pieces in web development that I'm passionate about. So do check those out if you can. Thanks ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everyone, and I shall speak to you again soon. Cheers. Bye.